Let's take a quick tour of the Sam Boyd Silver Bowl. The one unique characteristic about this track is it is extremely tight. It's a benefit for the fan because they're right on top of the action. Coming off the starting line, turn one is a sweeper to the left, 180 degrees, put you on the back stretch, and boy, you can fly down there. Then hard on the brakes for turn two, another 180-degree left-hander, takes you over a set of 2 jumps, and then into a rhythm section for turn number 3, the only right-hand turn on the course. Again, 180 degrees. Then a couple more jumps, another set of rhythms, and then down into turn 4, the final turn as you make that left-hander and head for the finish line. And that's 1 lap at the Silver Bowl.
So we're set now for the first heat race of the night, Grand National Sport Trucks. And Marty, if anybody is going to catch Rod Millen, they had better start tonight.
Well, we're looking at Roger Mears right there. He's going to be on the pole. Now, remember, with the inverted starting order, there is Walker Evans right behind him. What's interesting is Rick Johnson, number 2 in the points, is going to start way back in row number 5. There's a shot of Greg George, or pardon me, I should say Danny Thompson and Rob McCachran, his teammate. There is Ivan Stewart right there, the Ironman giving us a thumbs up. And then right behind, that is Rick Johnson. And Rick has a long way to go to catch Rod Millen, and Millen's going to be 1 row in front of him alongside Ivan Stewart.
The race in the hands of the starter, and we're racing tonight in Las Vegas. And very quickly, it's Rogers Sr. who storms to the lead in that Nissan, but right on Rogers' tail is that Walker Evans Dodge out of Riverside, California. Looks like Roger got hung up there at the top of turn 3.
Another guy that got hung up was Jeff Ward. He got punched to the outside, and boy, everybody went past, so he is well back. And right now, oh, Mears gets love tap from behind. He stalled, and Walker Evans said, hey, I got nowhere to go. Move.
Meantime, it's Roger Jr. who's come up into second place behind his dad, as we have 1 lap in the book here at Las Vegas and the Silver Bowl. And a big pile up through turn number 5, but everybody gets through eventually and cleanly. And it's still Roger Sr. in that Budweiser Nissan who has the lead. Roger Jr. in second, and look who's come up into third place, the Ironman, Ivan Stewart.
Yeah, and there's steam coming out of the number 6 of Roger Mears Jr. So it looks like he may be having an overheating problem, perhaps. You can see right there, the puff of smoke. And Ivan Stewart gets around him, and he's pressing for the lead.
And he has nosed into the lead momentarily. But at the top of turn number 5, it is Roger Sr. who holds the Ironman off, forcing him outside. And now Roger Sr. has built himself a little more of a lead. Rob McCachran from that Rough Riders team has moved into second.
And McCachran took advantage of everybody else going after each other. Rod Millen, you see him working the steering wheel. He is a little bit further back right now. He is all the way about 3rd from last. But the thing that was interesting is McCachran took advantage of everybody beating on each other, snuck past everybody but Roger Mears Sr. He's now in second.
Roger Mears Sr. with a little tail coming off the back end of that Budweiser truck, but he maintains the lead ever so slightly now over the Ford of Rob McCachran. In 3rd place, the Ironman. In 4th place, Roger Jr., who apparently has got some sort of cooling problem here in this first heat race. And now a tie-up at the top of that turn, just past turn number 1. And the worst for wear on this one appears to be the truck of Walker Evans. Mears hung up a little bit on the berm through the top of turn number 4.
Boy, Ivan Stewart took the inside lane and got a position away from Rob McCachran. Now he's going to try the outside on Mears.
Still a lot of racing left in this heat race number 1 of the Grand National Sport Trucks. Roger Mears Sr. with the lead. He is currently running 4th, make it 5th in the point standings. Meanwhile, the leader of the pack, Rod Millen, at least overall this year, continues to trail badly.
Let's bring you up to date. Jeff Ward has moved up to 5th, so he has rebounded from his early misfortune. He is trailing Roger Mears Jr., who is in 4th, and there's the battle. Oh, and Roger Mears Sr., a tap from Ivan Stewart. I wonder if Rough Driving will take a look, because Ivan's got the lead.
He has nosed into the lead. The Ironman has taken the lead, and Mears Sr. spins and rights himself. And what a great spin and drive out by Roger Sr.
And then McCachran gets into Ivan Stewart, who allows Roger Mears Jr. to get around, and now Mears Jr. goes over.
Mears Jr. on his lid. The yellow flag is out. Now the full course course, yellow. Wow.
I don't want to be rough driving in this one, trying to sort this out. Well, let's take a look at some of this action. I mean, it was fast and it was furious. Now take a look. Ivan gets right into MEARS at this point, and MEARS almost loses it, does end up losing the position. Then as it continues down into turn 1, watch what happens as MEARS turns in, hooks with Ivan and goes over. Then out of frame, Ivan gets loose. There you see him hung out to dry. And MEARS comes back. Meanwhile, McCachran has taken the lead. And then here we go as it continued on and on.
We're down to 8 Grand National Sport Trucks.
And that really hurts him in the points battle. Oh, and then we got a car.
Rogers Jr. spins, but drives out of it, leaving behind Rod Millen and Jimmy Johnson. Those two the worse for wear after that roll by Roger Jr.
And are you ready for this? 7-time Supercross champion Jeff Ward is now second to Ivan Stewart.
The Ironman, though, padding his lead and staring at the white flag, which means 1 lap to go. Ivan Stewart. He won at San Diego and he won at Pasadena. He was number 2 at Salt Lake City. His truck has been dialed in perfectly almost since mid-season. And now looking at perhaps a heat win here in Las Vegas tonight. And his lead is growing.
What's really interesting, this is the best performance by Dodge all season long. They're going to finish 2nd and 3rd in this heat.
Jeff Ward right on the Ironman's tail. The Ironman losing a little body paneling there, but no problem there. Checker flag in his face. Ivan Stewart first, Jeff Ward second, and Walker Evans will finish 3rd. There's our winner tonight in heat race number 1. It's the Ironman, Ivan Stewart. And a reminder, Mickey Thompson Stadium Off-Road Racing is coming to your town. If you live near or around or in Denver, Colorado, we're going to be at Mile High Stadium tomorrow night, Saturday night, October the 9th. And then in November, San Francisco for Candlestick Park. Let me tell you, if you're near Denver, you're near San Francisco, bring the family and have a great time at Mickey Thompson Stadium Off-Road Racing.
Back at the Sam Boyd Silver Bowl for the Mickey Thompson Stadium Off-Road Championship, and it's Las Vegas dimming in the background, and with me is Herb Fischel. He is the director of GM Motorsports Technology Group. Herb, good to see you again. And I guess the first question out of the box is I need to ask you about stadium off-road plans for 1994. Obviously, with the commitment of Jimmy Johnson to Rick Johnson, you're pretty high on this series, I would think.
This is a very important series for Chevrolet. So tonight we're debuting a new S10 pickup driven by Jimmy Johnson, which is part of our long-term plans to mount an attack on winning the overall championship in 1994. It's really more significant, though, because just a few miles to the west of us, Chevrolet Division is debuting at least a dozen new products to over 10,000 of its wholesale retail people. So there's a tremendous amount of excitement there about the production part of the business. And a key part of that is a new S10 pickup. We're going to be building 225,000 of those in 1994. So launching the new race truck here tonight is very important in head-to-head competition with Dodge and Ford and Toyota.
Well, it's good to see you, and glad to know that Chevrolet is going to be involved in 1994. The action's getting ready to resume back down on the track. Let's get to it.
Time for the Super 1600s. And this will be heat race number 1. And let's take a look at some of the point standings here for these guys, Marty, because this has turned into a pretty fair race, particularly after you get by Jerry Welchel.
Well, Jimmy Nichols and Kevin Smith separated by all of 5 points, and then Gary Gall with 169. Those guys are fighting it out for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And if Welchel would fall into some misfortune and DNF, not finish a couple of heats and mains, he would fall right back into the clutches of those 3.
We'll watch number 1, Welchel, who'll start from the front of this race, side by side with a guy that has put a little distance between here and there from Louisiana, Columbia, Louisiana, Marty Hart. Hart and Welchel up front to start this, and Welchel already goofy through turn number 1. but back on all fours and racing again.
Well, he got hooked on that one jump, and boy, he almost went all the way over. Caught it nicely. He's dunking underneath, trying to regain the lead, but he's going to be fighting for third.
Hart, though, has taken the lead and has raced to about 2 Super 1600 length over Kevin Smith. Hart currently riding 6th in the point standings and picking up 15 in Salt Lake City just a couple of weeks ago in our last event. We've got Steve Kukla stalled out at turn number 3, trying to get back into it, and finally does. But it's still Marty Hart who has the lead by a hair now over Kevin Smith and Jerry Welchel in third. And here comes Ed Herbst up, challenging Welchel for that third spot.
Yeah, things are getting interesting here as we got a battle for second. Looks like the leader is also slowing down a little bit. I'm checking to see if there's something wrong with Marty Hart's car. It looked like he slowed down, and boy, he has got Kevin Smith all over him, and Smith trying to look to the inside through one.
Well, our old pal Mitch Musker, who used to drive in this event, and with great success in the rough driving booth tonight, Marty.
Yeah, the former champion Mitch Mustard taking over the rough driving chores, and so far a clean heat race, so no problems for him to have to decide along with his compatriots. Right now, biggest challenge is Kevin Smith on Marty Hart. Hart stalls, and you got a new leader.
You sure do. It's Kevin Smith, and now it's Welchel who will challenge Smith for the lead. Welchel tries inside and bumps, but Smith, none the worse for wear, maintains the lead. And this is good news for Herbst, who now zooms into third place. Kevin Smith in the lead and holding off Welchel, it seems like, rather successfully. Oh, it's Herbst! Oh, what a spin by Herbst, who winds up on his head. And Herbst has wound up on the top of his Super 1600, and that brings out the yellow again.
And boy, that is one of the highest endos we have seen, and we'll not speculate on anything regarding condition. Hopefully everything is okay with Ed Herbst, the Las Vegas resident, as they get him rolled back over.
Checking on Eddie
Take
to see
a look.
if he's okay.
Left side of your screen, Goshen and Ed Herbst come together right here. They touch wheels, and bingo, look what happens to Herbst. He noses it, and look how high he bounces into the air and comes down right on his lid.
Well, there's definitely some vehicular carnage on the track here as we count 3 Super 1600s that are out of this race, and only 4 remain.
And Marty Hart stalled again. He's having a tough time keeping fire. He's missing in a cylinder, so we really only got 3 taking a white flag. 1 lap to go.
3 will dash for the finish. Kevin Smith with Welchel on him and Bill Goshen just behind him. Kevin Smith, who had a strong showing in Salt Lake City, now looking to parlay that with a win here in this first heat race of the Super 1600s tonight. Welchel will have 2 more turns in which to maneuver, but it appears that Smith is going to win this, the first heat race of tonight. Smith navigating through turn number 4, checker flag is out, and Kevin Smith out of South El Monte, California, will take it in his Mirage. Jerry Welchel in his Toyota second, and Bill Goshen third. The winner in heat race number 1 tonight, Kevin Smith. Bud Track Back, brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers.
Here in Las Vegas, the weather is always a factor. And, you know, we're in the middle of the desert. Today in the shade, oh, what's that, 105? Well, that takes a lot of toll on the equipment because of the heat that's built up during the race itself and the temperatures in the motor. And it also takes a big toll on the drivers because the fluids that they lose during a race have to be replenished after the races. But the temperature will drop off before the night's over with. As a matter of fact, before the races start, we'll come back and take a look at this thermometer and see exactly how much it's dropped off. You know, we checked this thermometer about 5 hours ago, and it was 105. We talked about what it was going to do to the cars and the drivers. Well, it's almost race time, and the temperature's dropped down a lot, as you can tell. Hey, it's down to 98 now. They'll think a cold front came through.
I'll tell you what, you know, the Mickey Thompson Stadium Off-Road Racing Series is a study of contrast. Well, you know, on a given Saturday night like tonight, you can watch no less than 6 different vehicle types in different races. The largest vehicle, of course, is the Grand National Sport Truck at 3,000 pounds. But the smallest, 90 pounds. The Peewee motorcycles. And the largest driver, probably the very well-constructed Ivan Stewart. The smallest? Well, maybe it's Spencer Clark, a 5-year-old Peewee class rider. And as exciting as the sport trucks are to watch, take a look at the Peewees. And here we go with our Peewee action tonight. And these kids not only are from all over the western part of the United States, but there's some great racing blood out here, Marty.
Well, 3 of these youngsters are the sons of racers in the Mickey Thompson Series. For example, Ryan Millen, Rod Millen's son, is 8 years old. He's out there. Then also Greg George's son, Garrett. He's 4 years old, riding a Yamaha. Oops, there goes one of the guys down. And then also TJ Clark. His son, Spencer, at age 6, is on the Yamaha, and these guys have a heck of a lot of fun. In fact, I sometimes think that the fans cheer these guys harder than we do the Grand National Sport Truck guys.
Here's Justin Lavoie from Mission Viejo, 5 years old.
Whoa!
That's pretty good for a 5-year-old. Well, I'll tell you what, Peewee Racing, it is just one more part of the excitement when you come out to see a Mickey Thompson event. Well, Marty, in the American Custom Racing Wheel Sport Utility Heat Race tonight, what an adventure for the Mike Leslie team.
It's amazing because for the first time all year, they missed the setup, and then watch what happens to Larry Noel right here. Talk about compression. Oof. He stuffs it hard. In fact, he did it one more time and ended up knocking himself out of the race. The winner was Chris Neal in a Nissan. Tim Lewis second. Brian Collins third. The best that Mike Leslie Racing could do was 4th.
Sponsored by Discount Tire.
Well, Larry Knowles, from what I've just received word, got out of the car, complained of his chest, and then went down. The emergency staff on hand got to him immediately. They're giving him oxygen now. He said he hit his chest on the steering wheel when it went nose in. They will transport him to the hospital. They're going to check for any internal bleeding and any torn muscles in that sternum area. And that's the word from the pits right now.
Well, in the super lights tonight, Jimmy Johnson had this race in the bag until the final lap.
This was what you call heartbreak. Jimmy Johnson doing double duty, driving in his debut Grand National Sport Truck for Team Chevrolet, the Chevy Thunder. All of a sudden, on the last lap, 1 turn away from victory, the car stops dead in the water. Sean Finley goes past. He took the checkered flag.
You are looking inside the Chevrolet of Rick Johnson, who is all set to go in this heat race number 2 of the Grand National Sport Trucks. And Marty Reed, update us now on the point standings as they exist after 1 heat race tonight.
Well, Rod Millen has picked up some ground. He now has 329 to 286 over Rick Johnson. But look at the Iron Man. He has now gone into a tie with Rob McCachran for 3rd with 268. And in all the days that Ivan has been racing this series, he has never finished lower than 3rd by season's end.
It is still Rick Johnson up front, but he's got a new partner up there as Mears Sr. has gone to the back. Jeff Ward now up front. Rick Johnson, though, like he has in the first 2 other restarts, off to the lead.
And Danny Thompson pulls over immediately, so one of the Ford Rough Riders is out of this heat.
Meanwhile, Johnson with the lead, Roger Jr. behind him, and Walker Evans currently 3rd. Rick Johnson, 3rd in Salt Lake City. He won Anaheim, but stumbled badly in Phoenix and Seattle.
Oh, Walker sideways.
And now Johnson continues to lead with Roger Sr. behind him.
Oh,
and now we've got a complete spin, and it's Millen who drives out of it. And up on the hydro barrier.
Jimmy Johnson.
Is Jimmy Johnson.
Walker Evans punted Rod Millen, and then Millen gets into the number 14 of Jimmy Johnson.
There is no caution, no full course caution yet. Rick Johnson Trying to hold off Roger Sr. now, who may perhaps smell a little blood. He goes outside. Johnson holds him off inside.
And Rod Millen has moved up to 4th.
McCachran making a bid for 2nd as he comes side by side with Roger Sr. Meanwhile, here's Johnson over the start-finish line. Great shot by our barrier cam. And there goes our leader in points, Millen. He currently running 4th. Meanwhile, back in the front, it's the Chevy of Rick Johnson from Encinitas, California.
Rod Millen on board, and you can see the punishment that these drivers take. Ricky Johnson, as we look out front now, Rod looking straight ahead. His hood is starting to come a little loose. Fight for 2nd place between the Nissan of Roger MEARS and Rob McCachran in the Ford. And they are side by side through turn 1. And the only truck that still has every body panel, this may be the kiss of death, is our leader, Rick Johnson. Look how clean that truck looks. That's amazing.
Johnson continues to lead, and by quite a bit, over Roger MEARS Sr. Rick Johnson will have the white flag in his face now. And after 3 restarts,
oh, and Rod Millen gets punted by his own teammate. Ivan Stewart takes Rod Millen out. Let's go back and take a look. Watch the left side of the screen. There's the number 1 of Rod Millen. He comes in, he stalls. Oh, and Ivan coming in hard. Just miscalculates his own teammate, making a move, and he sends him over. So Team Toyota, I'm sure, will have a little get-together after this heat race.
So on the restart, Rick Johnson, his normal position of number 1. He's been there for every other restart so far in this 2nd heat race.
And there's some blue smoke up there, and I'm not sure if that's coming from Rick's truck or Roger MEARS. No, it's Rick's. It is Rick's truck, and I'm not sure if it could be his transmission.
Here's a look at of Millen and what he sees in front of him. What he sees is Rick Johnson. 3rd place now is Roger Sr., and Ivan is making a move on him.
Yeah, I'm interested in Rick Johnson's truck. He is losing power, and here comes Rod Millen, and this is exactly what everybody didn't need to have happen. The points championship leader right now has taken over the lead in this race, and there is heavy smoke coming out of the number 7 of Rick Johnson.
Rod Millen with 316 points coming into tonight, looking to pad that now. His truck, in various stages of disrepair, now has the white flag. Meanwhile, at the top of turn 4, a big pileup that finally unscrambles, and it leaves the Ironman the worse for wear. It appears that Ivan Stewart is out of this race.
Well, he's also taken out a whole section of the hydro barrier. And Johnson is, I mean, he couldn't do a better job if he was spraying for mosquitoes.
Meanwhile, up front, Rod Millen. There he is, what's left of his truck. In 1st place, Johnson really smoking now behind him in 2nd. It is Millen who will take the checker. Johnson will limp in 2nd place. And Rob McCachran fighting off Roger Sr. will finish 3rd. There's our winner in heat race number 2. In the Toyota from Newport Beach, it's Rod Millen. Marty, the 4-wheel ATV, really an eventful race, particularly for Gary Denton, who comes storming back to take the lead.
Makes all of us old guys feel good. He's the oldest guy out here at age 35, and watch what happens as he gets inside, and as Donovan Holland gets a little high, he ducks underneath, takes the lead. From that point on, he went on to win and take the checkered flag. Holland finished 2nd. Nicholas Granlund was 3rd.
Marty, Doug Eichner has been the story all year long in the points race, and tonight he left everybody in the dust.
Well, he came in at a 203 to 198 margin over Mark Earhart, and Earhart was never a factor. Eichner took the lead early in this contest, and boy, he had the power down on this very slick track at the Las Vegas Sam Boyd Silver Bowl, and he won as he will lengthen his lead in 4-wheel ATV action.
Hi.
Hi.
What's your name?
Star.
Cory Wetherill is one of those rare drivers who's moved through the Mickey Thompson series in 3 different classes of vehicles. Cory takes us through his young career.
When I first started off racing, I started off racing these 4-wheel ATVs and everything. And My first Mickey Thompson race was in 1988. I was like just turned kind of like professional and everything. And just got involved with this, started doing that, Mickey Thompson's and doing the nationals. I'm sorry. After I went from the 4-wheel ATV class, I went to the Super 1600s, which is a stadium off-road car, which is similar to like a Class 10 desert car. I started racing these back in 1991. First race was at Anaheim Stadium. Okay, wait a minute, I gotta back up. Just up to like this, I don't know, the first 2 years was like basically a learning experience, and up till 93, I just started doing great things, started coming together, started qualifying better. I went from the Super 1600 class to the sport utility truck, and like earlier this season, 93, my first race was in Salt Lake City. Ended up qualifying 5th in this class. At the same time I raced the Super 1600 car and qualified 5th in that, so I got 2 5ths in qualifying. I got 5th stuck in my head. In the main event, because I flipped, I didn't get scored and everything. I went to the last row for the main event and ended up just driving smooth, working my way up. Next thing I know, I'm 2nd place, and first time out in this truck, I got 2nd place. What's most fun? I'd have to say it's probably this truck. The way I see it, just like being on the 405 freeway in LA, just hammer down and go through all the cars and everything like you would want to do during rush hour traffic.
All right, main event now in the American Racing Wheels Sport Utility, and it will be minus 1 competitor. If you were with us earlier in the broadcast, you know of the tremendous spill that was taken by Larry Noel, and he winds up going to a local hospital. So he is not in the main event.
And we do not have an update on his condition, although we have been told it is not serious. It has to do with the sternum area, as Mike Galloway reported. And we'll just wish the best. And his teammate, Tommy Croft, right there in the #1 Jeep, the red #1 in row #2, he'll be looking to make it 5 main event wins in a row in this class.
But keep your eye on Croft in row 2. 4 wins in a row for Croft in main events. The last 4 Mickey Thompson stops have been dominated by Tommy Croft and the Mike Leslie Racing team of Jeeps. A bump to start, but they're off. And Neal remains in front with Lewis through turn #1. Now let's watch Christopher Neal. He is led in that last heat race. Christopher Neal led start to finish. And now bumping through, here comes Brian Collins.
Now Brian is from Las Vegas, so he's got a lot of hometown fans here cheering for him. Oh, and Chris Neal gets turned all the way around by Tim Lewis. The two of them get locked up, as does Jim Smith in the Ford.
What this allows is Brian Collins and Tommy Croft to zoom in front of the pack. And now Croft, the cagey one, the one who has won 4 in a row, sets his sights on first place. Brian Collins out in the lead as a lot of these drivers go wide and hit the Hydra barrier outside turn #1. But Brian Collins, the local kid from Las Vegas, has the lead, if only barely, over Tommy Croft. Croft is looking like he's ready to make a move and is about to. In fact, Croft coming inside has assumed the lead. Well, that's the end of that. Croft, making the move, has now assumed the lead here through turn #2, or through lap #2.
Well, obviously from the top. Oh, and Brian Collins punches him out, and then the #3 further back goes up and over, continues to keep running of Tim Lewis. I think rough driving. You may see a penalty flag coming out here soon.
Well, there's no flag yet, and it remains Brian Collins in the lead.
I got to tell you, I'm going to make a bet right now. Brian Collins is going to see a penalty flag this time around.
Well, Tommy Croft is still on him, and currently running third at this point is Christopher Neal. Now Croft comes inside and wrestles the lead away again. Same place as he wrestled it away last time. Tommy Croft in his Jeep, the Mike Leslie Racing Team flag bearer, still in first place, and there it is. The penalty flag is out on Brian Collins.
So Collins is going to get a penalty for rough driving. Now he should pull in at the bottom of turn #2 here to take his penalty.
Collins goes to the box. Yes, into the penalty box. And now will be turned loose, but he'll be turned loose in 4th place. Croft remains the leader. Christopher Neal currently in 2nd. Tommy CROFT, the overall points leader, will drive tonight to the main event win in the American Racing Wheels main event.
What's going to be interesting is Tommy obviously found the right combination. Remember, he did not do well in his heat race, but he's doing well right here. Number 5 in a row.
Here he is with the checker flag. Tommy CROFT, the winner tonight in the American Racing Wheels Sport Utility main event.
No one said off-road racing was going to be easy. The Nelson & Nelson team has a big challenge on their hands right now. The thing is that Rick's motor went away in that heat race. Jim's motor is still good, so you have to take the motor out of Jim's truck, the motor out of Rick's truck, then take Jim's motor and put it in Rick. Yes, it's complicated. Both the motors are very hot. These guys have really got a rough bit of racing to do, and racing the clock, because they've got to be ready for the feature. Let's go back upstairs.
Well, the hot act in the Ultracross this year has been Sean Kalos, and in Las Vegas, he was the hot act again tonight.
Take a look on the last lap, putting on a little show for the fans. Looks like he's out of control, but he's not. Kalos led pretty much from wire to wire, taking the lead on the first lap, never looking back. And this helps him in his points chase. The one thing he's yet to do, though, is win a main event this year.
Well, we've reached the main event of the Ultracross, and always in the main event, there are big names to watch, not the least of which I think is Sean Kalos. Here's a kid that has had a pretty good run of it in heat races, but of course there's always the dangerous Larry Brooks and Ryan Carlisle. We'll see. We're off, and again racing in a direction opposite from all the other racing tonight. That's the way the Ultracross riders do it.
Well, remember, Kalos and Mike Healy, the 2 heat race winners with the inverted starting position, started all the way back in row number 8. Oh, we've got a rider down in the corner. Nobody injured, and they quickly get around. We'll try and pick up who that is.
Larry Linkogold continues in the lead as we are about to put one lap in the books here for this Ultracross main event.
And the rider that went down was Tracy Monterone, back up and going.
Larry Linkogold in the lead, and he is followed by John Sirica. John Sirica right behind Larry Linkogold. But it's early on in this Ultracross main event.
Larry Brooks is running 3rd. He's moved up from his starting position, which was in row number 6. Oh, we've got another spill back in turn number 3.
All kinds of riders down as they scramble to get back up, and racing continues. All this does is just leaves Linkogold and Sirica that much farther ahead.
Yeah, but Larry Brooks is closing. And if you're going to place any wagers on this one, not count Mr. Brooks out.
Yeah, he's a bad one to leave out, although he laid back quite a bit in the heat races tonight.
And are you ready for this? Kalos is up to 4th already.
Linkogold, Sirica, then Brooks, and then Kalos. 1, 2, 3, and 4. These Ultracross riders putting a lot of air between themselves and the track tonight.
Kalos is close to within, about 4 bike lengths of Larry Brooks. There's Brooks, there's Kalos, 3 and 9. Both of them on Yamaha. Brooks may not know it. He's after 2nd place right now. That is 1st, 2nd, 3rd. Oh, Brooks is down.
Scrambling to get back up, but he's lost his position. He is fallen back to 4th.
And in the process, Kalos has taken 3rd and was closing on 2nd.
Closing in on Sirica. Meanwhile, Linkogold continues with the lead.
Down the straightaway, it looks like Kalos is going to take the lead, and he does from Linkogold.
White flag is out for Sean Kalos, who takes that and now sets his sights on, hopefully for him at least, a win here in the Ultra-Cross main event. He would like nothing better than to be able to bring it home tonight. He was second in Salt Lake. He had no top 3 finishes in '93 before that second place at Salt Lake.
Well, that's the one thing that's been missing from his repertoire this year. Although he's been leading the points, he has yet to win a main event. Larry Brooks is second. Kyle Lewis is third.
Larry Brooks second in the point race to Sean Kalos. Brooks has got a main this year win in Pasadena. He's picked up a lot of points, but so is Kalos. And Kalos has taken the checkered flag tonight. He is our winner in the Ultra-Cross main event.
Let's go back to the moment where Larry Brooks may have lost this race. John Sirica in the 47, Brooks in the 3. Brooks tries to cut underneath. They come together. Look at Sirica looking around, and it's Brooks that takes the worst of it as he goes down. He lost a position as number 9, Sean Kalos, got around him, and then later on, Kalos would go on to win the race. As Kalos here, the pass around Larry Linkogle down the straightaway. Just a lot of horsepower and some great balance as he heads into turn number 3. It was all Rod Millen as he widened his points margin. As you take a look now, 356 to 302 over Rick Johnson. That is a 54-point bulge. And remember, it was 31 when the evening started.
All right, we're set to go. Main event in this, the Grand National Sport Trucks. It's been a riotous couple of heat races for these guys, and I'm sure that they would like fewer on-track incidents, clean racing, and every single one of them would love to walk home with that trophy.
Well, the interesting starting lineup has Walker Evans and Roger Mears scheduled for the front row, but Roger Mears has not answered the bell. So the number 4 of Roger Mears not going to make it to the main event. In row 2, Ivan Stewart and Rob McCachran. There's a good shot of Rob still looking for his first main event win for the Rough Riders. Rick Johnson and Rod Millen. Millen, the leader in the points. Johnson second. They're side by side in row 3. Roger Mears Jr. and Danny Thompson in row 4. Jeff Ward and Jimmy Johnson in row 5. And Jimmy Nichols in row 6.
They've done some major work to Rick Johnson Chevrolet. You remember it smoked in that second heat race, but apparently Rick Johnson Chevy, okay, good to go for this, the main event. And Walker Evans is the man in front who takes off. A late entrant onto the track is the Budweiser of Roger Sr. So Sr. comes storming through as this race begins. He's all the way at the back, but he's in the race.
And Roger Mears Jr. is over on his side, as that's going to bring out a full course yellow. We'll have to re-rack it again. And these guys still haven't gotten the idea that this is supposed to be a sprint race and not tag team. It must be a full moon. That's the only way I can describe this. Look at the number 3 of Rob McCachran. He gets a complete 180, stays on the race course. Then the number 6 of Roger Mears Jr., he's going to come into view, and he's going to catch a tire and watch what happens as he ends up going over on his side right there. And from that point on, Junior's along for the ride as he gets a little assist from Rod Millen. Millen had nowhere to go.
And Marty, because of some consultation with rough driving, apparently now it is Rob McCachran and Ivan Stewart who have gone to the front of the pack, and they forced the Mears gang to the back. So on the restart, the Ironman has assumed the lead. Rob McCachran on him.
Second place, yes, Rob McCachran. Third place, Rick Johnson. Fourth, Rod Millen.
A very, very tight turn 2. And the Ironman has really put some distance between himself now and McCachran.
Millen's gotten around Rick Johnson for third.
Yeah, there's our inboard camera with Rod Millen, the points leader. Parts flying off on the track now as the race.
The hood. Now, Danny Thompson drove at the LA Coliseum several years ago just like that, and that's why the rule was instituted, because for a safety standpoint, they want to make sure that you take that piece off and then go back to racing. Ivan Stewart back up front. Whoa, get a little nose heavy there.
Yeah, what I'm guessing here is Roger doesn't even know there's a black flag out because of that hood being right in his face. If he is, he's certainly not behaving like there by where you would go up to the pit. Well, he hasn't stopped to go there.
He's trying to get over to rough driving area, but meanwhile, Ivan Stewart continues to lead this race by a big margin over Rob McCachran. Rod Millen is third, Ricky Johnson is fourth, and Rod...
In this, the Grand National Sport Truck.